Hello, this is Jerry, your host, and today's topic we are going to talk about a story of a man who dared to question the Constitution. And he also won the case. It is, in fact, a victory not for him, but for each one of us. And this case is called Kesavananda Bharati case. And in this case, I'm going to explain to you in a simplified and understanding way. So let's dive in and let's discuss this case. Background of this case. This case is called Kesavananda Bharati case, as I told previously. It is about land reforms that was introduced in Kerala during the 1950s and 60s. Well, the basic idea is to redistribute lands from the rich landlords to the poor landless farmers. In 1963, the government of Kerala passed the Land Reforms Act. The act limits the amount of land a person can hold. Now the star of the case, Sri Kesavananda Bharati, he is the head or the pontiff of Edenir Mutt, a religious institution in Kerala. Well, in 1970, the government of Kerala imposed restrictions on land and the land held by religious institutions. So the Edenir Mutt, which was headed by Sri Kesavananda Bharati, challenged the constitutionality of this act. How can you pass this? He went to the Kerala High Court, and eventually they fought and they argued, and the case went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the state government. In the meantime, there's a twist here. In the meantime, the Parliament passed the 24th Amendment of the Constitution. So, the 24th Amendment it curtails the power of the judiciary and it limits the scope of judicial review. So, you might ask, what is judicial review? Judicial review is the power of the court to review laws or actions passed by the legislative, that is the Parliament, the executive, and the administrative arms of the government. So you might ask, what is also 25th and 29th Amendment? So 25th and 29th Amendment was also passed. That is, it limits the fundamental rights of citizens. It gives the Parliament the ultimate power to amend any part of the Constitution. So Sri Kesavananda Bharati filed a petition challenging the validity of these amendments. He is really gutsy and he questioned the Constitution. He argued that it violated the basic structure of the Constitution. Hence, the landmark judgment, Kesavananda Bharati judgment, was passed. It upheld that the basic structure of the doctrine, that is right of property, it placed limits on the power of the Parliament to amend any part of the Constitution. That is a superb decision which is passed. So, Kesavananda Bharati had gone from a mere pontiff to become a person remembered in history. He's a key figure who fought to uphold the rights and key principles of democracy and the rule of law. Now, let's talk something about the judgment. The Kesavananda Bharati case was heard by 13 judges of the Supreme Court, and it is one of the largest benches constituted in the entire Indian legal history. As mentioned earlier, the bench was constituted to hear important constitutional questions regarding the powers of the Parliament and amending the Constitution. So that's why the benches were constituted. Now, the bench took 6 months to hear. These 13 judges heard each and every argument for 6 months. And finally, they delivered the judgment. The bench voted. Now they had a voting system. That is, 7 judges said yes and 6 judges said no. And the majority decision was that the basic structure of the Constitution is the fundamental features of the Constitution, which is that such as democracy, secularism, federalism, and the rule of law, and it cannot be amended by the Parliament. Also, the power of judicial review. This forms an integral part and it is a basic structure of the Constitution, and this cannot be taken away by the Parliament from the judiciary. So now the fundamental feature is the constitution, it checks the power of the parliament, preserving the fundamental values and the principles of law. So let's discuss the key legal issues that was argued in the case. The arguments I will come in a few seconds now. So the key issues are, the first is the constitutional validity of the Kerala Land Reforms Act. Second, the extent of Parliament's power to amend the constitution. And finally, the establishment of the doctrine of basic structure of the constitution. So these are the three key legal issues that was argued in the court, in the Supreme Court. And so let's move to the arguments. Kesavananda Bharati case had three parties involved. Actually, several parties involved. The three main parties are, first, Kesavananda Bharati, who was the petitioner. Second, the state of Kerala, who was the defendant. And third, the interveners who supported each side. So you might be wondering, who are the interveners? What are they? What are these people out? They are individuals or groups who are involved in the case. They provide the perspective and the expertise. Actually, to this case, they are not directly involved with this case, but they have special interest in the outcome of the case. So now you got the parties. Now let's move to the arguments. Kesavananda Bharati, who was a petitioner, he argued as a religious leader and a landowner that the Kerala Land Reforms Act, it violated the fundamental rights to property. He argued that it's a parliament's power to amend the constitution and it's not limited to certain fundamental features such as the right to hold property, and this cannot be amended by the parliament. Second, the Kerala state, who was the respondent, they argued and defended that the constitutionality of this Land Reforms Act, it placed reasonable restrictions on the right to hold property, and it's aimed at social justice and reducing poverty. They argued also that the parliament has the power to amend the constitution. Now, two arguments have been placed. Now, let's see what is the intervener's argument. Some cited that the Land Reforms Act is necessary and promoted social justice and reducing poverty. Well, the others, the opposite side, they argued that it violated the fundamental rights of property. Now, this is all the predicament the Supreme Court had to go through, and they didn't know what to do, and so that is where the judgment was passed, and they took a vote while passing this judgment, and this has become history. So let's see what is the judgment. Well, after hearing the arguments for over 6 months, the Kesavananda Bharati case judgment was passed. It was a landmark case and a landmark judgment that goes into the history of constitutional India, where it shows that the supremacy of the constitution. It is above any person or any government body or parliament. In fact, the judgment laid down several principles. It shows that 1. The judiciary is independent. People's fundamental rights cannot be taken away. And third, it reduces or limits the parliament's power to amend the constitution. Well, I hope you liked the video and the story of Kesavananda Bharati case. Well, if you liked it, please show us some support by hitting the like button. It will be really encouraging. Also, please don't forget to click the subscribe button for more videos like this, where complex cases are explained in a simple manner. Well, until the next video, take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.